ever since that period of time, South Carolina has been kicking and screaming for liberty. I've done that in the Senate, including this past week when we passed an Enhanced Heritage Act that I fought for to ensure the next time a city decides to tear down a monument like John C. Calhoun, we're going to tear down their local government funding. We will not destroy the history or heritage of this state.
Senator, thank you. Mr. Reddy, you have 45 seconds for your opening statement.
There are two lanes in this race, the political ruling class and me. A couple of key differences. Never run for office. Like President Trump and Elon Musk, I attended the Wharton Business School. I've been in the private sector my entire life. Number two, I don't take campaign donations. I can't be bought. Number three, I'm a first-generation American. I immigrated here legally as a student almost 50 years ago. I bought my first business in South Carolina in 1990. I have 3 kids, 3 grandkids, a beautiful wife, and we attend the First Baptist Church right here in Charleston, and my pastor is here today, which I'm very proud of, so I got to watch my language.
Mr. Reddy, thank you. Congressman Norman, you have 45 seconds for your opening statement.
In the next 50 days, we're going to select the next governor of South Carolina or the CEO for the next 4 years and really the next 8 years. Folks, we have a lot of changes to make in this state. In order to change the system, you cannot be a part of the system. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a career politician. I've been in real estate for 40 years, made money, and I've lost money. What's my vision? My vision is we're going to root out the waste, fraud, and abuse. Doesn't matter who it is. We're going to let you decide if you want term limits. The roads you drove in, dilapidated roads, we're going to fix the roads. We're going to change the way we elect our judges. It's like Clemson and Carolina letting their own referees be chosen. We're going to change the system.
Congressman, thank you. Lieutenant Governor Evett, you have 45 seconds. Lieutenant Governor, yes.
Thank you. All the clapping. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pamela Evett. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of 3. I'm a conservative businesswoman, and I'm your Lieutenant Governor. I'm proud of the accomplishments Governor McMaster and I have had over the last 8 years, from cutting taxes to keeping biological males out of women's sports, from protecting life to defending your Second Amendment rights. I'm the only person on this stage tonight to have the full endorsement of Governor McMaster, and I'm the only one who has stood shoulder to shoulder with President Trump and never wavered. I believe South Carolina is the best state to live, work, and raise your family. And under an Evett administration, our best days are yet ahead of us.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Attorney General Wilson, you have 45 seconds.
Good evening, South Carolina. My name is Alan Wilson, and I currently serve as your state attorney general. We are here tonight because this is a job interview. The office of governor doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to anyone on this stage. It belongs to you, the people of South Carolina, and I am here to ask you to hire me to do this job. The issues that you talk about at home with your friends and family, these are the same issues I'm talking about with mine. Issues like education, affordability, crime, and our conservative values. I'm here as a husband and a father, a combat veteran, and a proven prosecutor who is the only person in this race who has ever fought for and defended President Trump in a court of law, and I look forward to fighting for you as your next governor. Thank you.
Attorney General, thank you. Congresswoman Mace, you have 45 seconds.
Thank you. This evening, I want to recognize my mother, Ann, who was with us tonight. A week ago tonight, my mother and my sister Mary, who's with us this evening, and my dad's dogs sat around and we laid hands over my father as he took his last breath. And I was able to sit with him and the family and say the Lord's Prayer as he left this earth. We watched him and witnessed him accept Christ as his Savior in his last few final days here on this earth. I want to thank Ralph and I want to thank Alan for reaching out to me and my family during some of the worst times of our life. And I want to say thank you for your love and for your encouragement tonight. And I look forward to this debate. Thank you, and God bless you.
Candidates, thank you all. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll begin with our questions, focusing on some of the biggest issues facing the state right now. back to Gray Media's special coverage of the race for governor. This is the second debate in a series of debates in the Republican primary. The candidates have already given their opening statements, and now we begin with our question portion of tonight's debate. Candidates, a reminder, your answers will be timed for 45 seconds. You will have time to respond if directly referenced or mentioned by name. We begin tonight with Raphael James. Raphael.
Thank you, and good evening to the candidates. 748 steps away from this theater, a white man was welcomed into Mother Emanuel AME Bible study. When the congregants bowed for prayer, that young man pulled out a gun and began shooting them simply because of the color of their skin. It marked one of the most tragic moments in our state's history. Currently, South Carolina is one of only 2 states without a statewide hate crime law, legislation that would increase penalties for crimes motivated by bias, including race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Why do you believe, candidates, the state still does not have a hate crime law, and will you push for one as governor?
Senator Kimbrell, you begin. You have 45 seconds for your answer.
I've had to grapple with this issue in the legislature for the past 6 years since I took office. The reason we don't have a version right now is because people try to load too many things in it that would actually hurt religious liberty and hurt people of faith in our state. So, for example, I have told our Democratic colleagues I would be open to a conversation on race, unchangeable sexual characteristics, etc. But they've insisted every time on including language from an EEOC administrative law court decision. And I asked somebody in a hearing in the Judiciary Committee, which I sit on, do you believe this could be used to prosecute somebody on a social media post who says they believe marriage is between even a man and a woman? And they said yes. And I said, then I'm voting no, because I will never pass a bill that is going to restrict the religious liberty of our people and shut people up for what they personally believe in their heart.
Senator Kimbrell, thank you. Congressman Norman, you have 45 seconds.
I think your question was, should we pass a hate crimes law? Absolutely not. Look, there are laws on the books. There are laws on the books for killing people. That just gives another trial lawyer a way to make a case against, if you're biased or not. It ought to be some help for mentally ill people that kill the prisoners in Charleston. Absolutely not. I'd fight that. Would not go along with that.
Congressman, thank you. Lieutenant Governor Evett, you have 45 seconds.
Yes, I would not support a hate crime bill. The governor and I have talked about this over the last few years. We have a lot of laws on the books. What we need prosecutors who will prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. We need judges who will throw the book and stop career criminals from coming out of jail and out of our courtrooms and back into society, putting our law enforcement at risk. We've saw a lot of, turmoil in our country. And when we saw all the anti-Semitic protests on college campuses in states that had hate crime laws, not once did I ever hear or read about a hate crime law getting used against Jewish students on campus that were being harassed and abused. A hate crime law is not something I would stand for here in South Carolina.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Congresswoman Mace, you have 45 seconds.
Every single crime is literally a hate crime. There is no such thing as a hate crime because every crime is a hate crime. Second, South Carolina has a problem with our judges who are letting out violent offenders to go out and murder women. Like Logan Federico, 22 years old, almost murdered to the day in Columbia, South Carolina. We have cases like Scott Spivey that are not prosecuted in this state. We have pedophiles running wild in South Carolina. Donald Gresh served 1 day in jail when he had 1,900 images of toddlers as young as 3. No jail time. The judges need to be impeached, so do the prosecutors, and violent offenders go to jail and they don't come out.
Congressman, thank you. Attorney General Wilson, you have 45 seconds.
Well, for the folks at home, I want to make sure they understand that as governor, I will never support a bill that criminalizes your free speech. That is not what this is. We will never criminalize free speech. I've had to go to court multiple times around the country to defend people's rights when they were being prosecuted for using improper pronouns. That's not what this is. Yes, we're one of 2 states that doesn't have a hate crime law. I agree with what Nancy said. All crime is hateful, and absolutely we should prosecute it to the fullest extent. But as the only prosecutor up here and someone who's spoken to sheriffs and prosecutors around the state, I don't mind giving law enforcement an extra tool as long as an enhancement of another type of crime. So if you want to give additional tools to law enforcement to go after these people, to put them in jail longer, be my guest. Sign me up for that every day. But we're not going to criminalize speech. We will protect your First Amendment rights.
Attorney General, thank you. Mr. Reddy, you have 45 seconds.
You know, the political ruling class always has a different answer than I do. But, you know, what can I do about that? The Declaration of Independence and the gospel, that's our roadmap. Jesus said, a house divided amongst itself cannot stand. God made us in his image. Believers believe we're all his children. All this division and hate is created by the political class because that's what gives them all the power they have. My view of this is this. My pastor, Marshall Blaylock, is sitting right there, recently said something that stuck with me. He said, feel God's grace in your heart so you can show grace towards others. That's, as governor, as leaders, we need to be bringing people together.
Mr. Reddy, thank you very much. Your time is up. Thank you very much. We turn now for our second question of the night to Eric Weisfeld. Eric.
Thank you. Candidates, good evening. Coastal Carolina, South Carolina, growing faster than the infrastructure that supports it. What specific investments or reforms would you prioritize to improve roads and bridges and protect flood-prone areas along the coast while keeping taxes competitive?
Congressman Norman, you have 45 seconds to answer.
First of all, we have neglected our roads and bridges for far too long. We've got 1,000 bridges that are falling down. I will prioritize that. How will I do it? I will first do it because I will do a overall forensic accounting of every agency in government, and including the Department of Transportation. And I'll itemize what needs to be cut and what needs to really go for gravel and subgrade to get the thing right. It's been neglected far too long. The fact that we are lead the nation in fatalities is a joke, and it's something I wouldn't put up with. As far as growth, we've got to have controlled growth. We cannot let everybody in from every other way. The Scout Motors deal that took our money and left with the headquarters would not happen under Ralph Norman.
Congressman, thank you. Lieutenant Governor Everett, you have 45 seconds.
Thank you. Well, the first thing I would do is I would modernize South Carolina's DOT. And I want to thank President Trump because, like myself, he's a businessman. And he understands that time is money and time kills deals. So in the One Big Beautiful Bill, he looked to cut federal permitting so that these infrastructure projects could get done quicker and cheaper. We want to, Governor McMaster and I, in our executive budget, we asked for $1.1 billion to expedite these projects because we understand that time is money. We want to make sure that we're innovative, public-private partnerships, coming in and creating fast-pass lanes to allow people that are in a hurry to be able to utilize that. People that like to listen to podcasts, want to leave a little later, they can stay and get to work the exact same way they can.
Governor, thank you very much. Your time is up. We move now to Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, you have 45 seconds.
Thank you. Over the last 2 years, I brought the Lowcountry, where we're standing today, over $400 million in roads and bridges money for infrastructure right here in the Lowcountry, including supporting the largest grant in state history for roads and bridges off of Long Point Road for the state's Port Authority. One of the other things that we have to do is be very aggressive on having shovel-ready projects. So regardless of who's president, when the money is appropriated, we are ready to go. And that is at the state level, the county level, and the local level on down, expediting permitting. And one of the things that Ralph always says, and he missed it tonight, he wants his lieutenant governor to be a road czar. So I want to ask Ralph to be my road czar. Ralph, I would love that. He's great. He builds roads. He'd be great.
Congresswoman, thank you. Congressman Norman, you do have 30 seconds for a response.
Nancy, I want to thank you for the compliment. I would be a tremendous road czar, and I, too, will put the lieutenant governor as a road czar, and it will no longer be a position that is kissing babies and blowing bubbles. We're going to put them to work. I agree with Nancy.
Congressman, thank you. Attorney General Alan Wilson, you have 45 seconds to answer the question.
Thank you. Hey, folks at home, Are you sick and tired of sitting in traffic like it's a parking lot? I know I am. As I traveled all 46 counties of South Carolina, I found myself, especially in urban areas, sitting in traffic, spending time away from my families and away from my office, and I know you're doing the same thing and you're sick of it. We need to be more innovative in how we approach infrastructure funding. First, we modernize and we reform the Department of Transportation. We privatize that grass between the interstates. We turn it into private express lanes that can be tolled. We lease the easements on the sides of interstates to telecommunication companies and energy companies and charge them for natural gas line and fiber optic cables. And we also privatize rest areas and put restaurants and gas stations there and collect the funds from that to fund our roads and bridges. That's what I'm going to do when we're governor.
Attorney General, thank you. Mr. Reddy, you have 45 seconds.
The political ruling class, once again, all talk, no action. Their favorite spending is more. In 2013, $1.3 billion on roads. This year, $3.1 billion. Percent of acceptable roads went down. I ran a construction company in 50 states. I think I know a thing or two about construction. Get rid of the commission. 2/3 of the roads are managed centrally. Impossible. That's the Russian gulag system of management. Get rid of in-house maintenance. And come on, do something. You have some time. All you did this year is you named the Barack Obama Highway in a majority Republican state. The ruling class.
Mr. Reddy, thank you. Senator Kimbrell, you have 45 seconds.
I did a lot more this year than just vote on naming a road. In fact, I sponsored concurrency legislation with Senator Tom Davis of Beaufort that would actually make sure that we're not growing neighborhoods and development faster than the infrastructure can contain it. It still protects people's private property rights, but it ensures that what happened in Spartanburg County and my district doesn't happen everywhere else, which is you put 400 houses on a road that was built for a farm tractor, and then everybody has accidents trying to get down it. Preserve private property rights and allow growth, but let's ensure that we're also doing it responsibly. Further, last year I worked on a bill in the Senate that would allow the Conservation Land Bank Trust to fund up to 50% of somebody's farmland so they don't have to sell it off to a developer just to pay the taxes. So we can keep more green space in South Carolina and preserve our unique heritage and culture that is tied to the land.
Senator, thank you. We turn now for our third question of the night to Judy Gatson. Judy.
Thank you so much. Candidates, I have a question related to news out of the State House today. S 1095. A bill that would prohibit abortions once a pregnancy is clinically diagnosable and would eliminate existing exceptions for rape, incest, and fatal fetal anomalies has now advanced to the full Senate. The question voters would like you to answer tonight: do you agree with the provisions in S 1095 that eliminate those exceptions for rape, incest, or fatal fetal anomalies, or do you agree with Governor McMaster that our current ban on abortion after 6 weeks is strong enough?
Lieutenant Governor Evatt, you begin. You have 45 seconds.
Well, thank you. I'm proud to have the national endorsement of Susan B. Anthony and received a 100% scorecard for South Carolina Citizens for Life. And I stand with both of them, saying that S 1095 has gone too far. If a bill like that showed up on my desk, I would veto it as your next governor. I think that has gone. I am very happy with the heartbeat bill, and that is a road that has gone a little too far.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Congresswoman Mace, you have 45 seconds.
Thank you. I have the same position as President Trump. I am pro-life with exceptions for rape and incest and life of the mother. As a survivor, I've told my story multiple times, the first time being in 2019 on the floor of the State House, where we had a fetal heartbeat bill, and it was the first time in the country where an amendment was put on the fetal heartbeat bill for exceptions for rape and for incest, and it passed the House. And we were the first state in the country to do that. And that is my position, and that will be my position as governor when you elect me.
Congresswoman, thank you so much. Attorney General Alan Wilson, you have 45 seconds.
I have always been unapologetically pro-life, and I've demonstrated this by defending the unborn in local courts, going all the way to the United States Supreme Court many times. This is why citizens, South Carolina Citizens for Life, have endorsed me in every election I've run for Attorney General, why I have a 100% rating. It's because of my defense of the unborn. This is an issue, I believe, because it is so emotional and so divisive, and we must recognize the reality of the environment that we're in, that when dealing with policies and approaching an issue like abortion, we must have compassion for the unborn and the mother. We must build consensus for everyone moving forward and apply common sense, which is why I would veto that bill. But in addition, we need to build a culture of life in South Carolina by reforming our adoption as well as our foster care systems and making sure crisis pregnancy centers are adequately funded and women have
Attorney
access
General,
to
thank
them.
you very much. Your time is up. Turn out Mr. Reddy. You have 45 seconds. Mr. Reddy.
I am pro-life. I have 2 grandkids who were born within a week or so of 25 weeks. And they're healthy, beautiful kids, and I'm happy they were born. That said, aren't we tired of this discussion? It's been going on for decades. The ruling class all argues amongst themselves, and then Dobbs comes down in 22 and says it's the state's decision, so they argue some more, and then they reach a 6-week bill a couple years ago. Now they're fighting with each other again. The Supreme Court did not say the loudest voice in the ruling class prevails. He said it's up to the people in the state. So let's put it to a referendum if you can't agree and put this thing to bed once and for all. It takes up time every single year.
Mr. Reddy, thank you very much. You turn now to Senator Kimbrell. You have 45 seconds.
I sit on the Senate Medical Affairs Committee in Columbia, and this week in my remarks I said if this goes to the floor, I will never support the level of penalties that are included in that bill. My position is I always support a conversation about life. I too personally believe that life begins at conception. At the same time, as a Christian, I believe there's 2 sides of the Christian message, justice and mercy. You can't focus so much on justice you're willing to put a woman who's scared in jail. I will never support a bill that puts a woman who is scared in jail. I think the conversation goes against us at that point. That being said, I was one of the original co-sponsors of the heartbeat bill that cut our abortion rate by about 80% 2 years ago and fought for it 2 times. I am pro-life, but I will take the position of justice and mercy, love and compassion.
Senator, thank you. Congressman Norman, you have 45 seconds.
I am pro-life. I've got 17 grandchildren. And, you know, this is an emotional issue, but I will tell you, if this bill came to my desk as governor, if it passed the House and the Senate, I would sign it. And, you know, the mental illness part of this is what really needs to be addressed, and I think it would be. It's harsh to put someone in prison for that 15-year-old who aborted a baby or attempted to. That being said, again, if it gets to my desk, I would sign it, and I think that would be the right step.
Congressman, thank you. We turn now to Gary David for our next question here tonight. Gary.
Thank you all for being here. I would suspect that everybody in this beautiful theater in Charleston tonight would tell you they're looking at the next governor of South Carolina on this stage. The Democrat Party is a party that struggles to gain traction here. The Republicans have a supermajority at the State House, yet a lot of people would tell you they're getting in their own way and can't get things done. As governor, how would you work to try to unite the different factions of the Republican Party to get your agenda accomplished?
Mr. David, thank you. Congressman Mace, you begin. You have 45 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a creature of the State House, a creature of Congress, and as conservative as I am and as vocal as I am on many issues, I'm actually ranked the 22nd most bipartisan member of Congress. Last year, I drafted 65 pieces of legislation, and I file bills almost every single week. You will never meet someone who will work harder for you. And in fact, every single policy proposal in my run for governor that I have presented to you, the voter, I have crafted a bill and a piece of legislation to go along with it, because on day one, we are going to get to work. And that means that I meet with different groups, with different factions, and bring people together to find that consensus, just like Donald Trump has done as president.
Congresswoman, thank you. Attorney General Wilson, you have 45 seconds.
Thank you for the question, Gary. I've gone to the legislature numerous times, and I've talked with members of the Republican, Democrat, and even the Freedom Caucus. And I always say there's three kinds of issues we're going to have. Issues in which we're in total agreement, and in those cases, I will be your strongest ally, and I will go to the mat for you. There will be issues in which there's some disagreement. I will work out a compromise with you so that we both walk away with at least an 80% solution. That's not to say that I won't come back next year for the other 20%, but we will move it forward. And then there are times when there's complete disagreement. Your position and my position cannot coexist. I will put on the mantle of a boxer. We will get into the boxing ring of ideas, and we will duke it out. Whichever one of us wins, I will get back out, be your friend again, because tomorrow you may be my best friend on another issue. We can't tear each other apart. We got to move the ball forward and work for the people.
Attorney General, thank you. Mr. Reddy, you have 45 seconds. Mr. Reddy.
Leadership. Who's the leader of the state? Anyone know? I don't. There is no leader. We got to restore leadership. Leadership is setting a bold vision and shaping public opinion around the vision. We have to restore executive branch authority. The Constitution says it's a co-equal branch. The executive branch holds the legislative branch in check and also holds these agencies from going rogue and weaponizing government against the citizen. I will use the veto. I will also restore Article 4 powers, which the governor has but does not use. It's simple. We go to a commission, we say you're fired. They say you can't fire me. I said, I just did. Get the heck out. Because if you don't, things won't see you in court. We've got to show leadership. We don't have leadership in the state.
Mr. Reddy, thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. We turn now to Senator Kimbrell. You have 45 seconds.
Look, nobody on this stage has passed as much legislation in South Carolina as I have. On everything from roads and bridges to tax cuts. I authored the first major tax cut in South Carolina history, or the first plan to eliminate it, and worked with Senator Peeler to actually get the $2 billion cut that passed a couple of years ago. You've got to be able to work with the legislature and guide, but not try to steamroll. Let me give you an example. Briefly, in a past life, I worked in the Sanford administration, and their approach was, while they had a lot of good ideas, we're going to force the legislature to do it. Now, the current administration's approach is, y'all pass a bill, we'll look at signing it. You've got to have somebody to quarterback the team and bring everybody together, and nobody's done more of that in South Carolina Senate than I have. And as governor, I'd have him at the mansion every day until we agree on something and go quarterback the team, lead Team South Carolina, and move this state forward as a conservative powerhouse.
Senator Kimbrell, thank you. So now, Congressman Norman, you have 45 seconds.
This is where you're going to see a big divide among all of these candidates on this stage tonight. Look, we've got a supermajority in the House and the Senate. How long are we going to put up with our budget going up 45% in the last 3 to 4 years? How long are we going to put up with rogue judges being elected by lawyers who turned their backs on the police officers? How long are we going to put up with people campaigning, less taxes, less government, less regulations? They're rhinos, folks. Well, I'm going to do what I can I will try to negotiate with them. I will use the veto, as has been said, and I will use my line item veto, but I will go to you, the people. When you have a Republican or Democrat that backs up and puts this state in jeopardy, I'm going to call them out. That's a big difference from anybody else on this stage.
Congressman, thank you. Lieutenant Governor Evett, you have 45 seconds.
Well, thank you. Much like President Trump, I have spent the majority of my life in business, and I understand the advantages you get when you can work with everybody. Unlike everybody else on this stage, I'm the only one that is sitting in the executive branch, and I have been fortunate to work with Governor McMaster, who has shown me, not only as a friend but as a mentor, how much you can get done when you work with the General Assembly. Now, that doesn't mean that you always agree, and I have spent my time as Lieutenant Governor up in the General Assembly, making relationships, garnering their respect, and giving them respect. And that's how I will be as governor, working with the General Assembly to get things done. Because people are tired of tuning in their TVs and seeing how little gets done in Washington with everybody fighting. That's not how it'll be here in South Carolina.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Two of you made reference to everybody on stage. Let's go and expand on this one. 30 extra seconds for each candidate. Congressman Mace, if you'd like to expand on this, you have 30 extra seconds about how you could unite the Republican Party.
Well, expanding on this?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've done it before in Congress. In fact, when I was very first elected 5 years ago, we had a little project off the coast of Mount Pleasant called Crab Bank. We had a lot of different stakeholders, and I met with them each individually, and then I brought them together a couple times. I did in 11 weeks what couldn't be done in 11 years on this project. And I take that same kind of energy to every single project. But, you know, if you need to be called out, like Pam Bondi, when I subpoenaed her, President Trump fired her. Sometimes people need to be called out to get things to move and have the energy to be productive in this state and in this country.
Congresswoman, thank you. Attorney General, you have 30 seconds to expand on this.
No, absolutely. Just a footnote for everyone at home. I actually am in the executive branch of government as the Attorney General, so there's a civics lesson for you. Just something to think about. Listen, I haven't been in office since 2005, but I know enough to know this. You can't call people corrupt and then ask them to give you your agenda so that you can have a political win. You've got to work with people. You can go after the bad guys in the legislative branch and the judicial branch, but you can't paint everyone with a wide brush. As governor, you're going to lead from the front with a positive message for the people of South Carolina. Thank you.
Attorney General, thank you. Mr. Reddy, you have 30 extra seconds. Mr. Reddy, 30 seconds.
I'm going to need earplugs for his applause. But I come back to saying leadership. We passed the judicial reform bill, as you know, as an outside citizen. We got all 85 Republican House members to vote for it as a citizen. All these Freedom Caucus and Maine Caucus and Family Caucus and every other caucus. You cannot replace leadership. You just can't. And that's what we're lacking. We do not have leadership.
Mr. Reddy, thank you. Senator Kimbrell, you have 30 seconds.
You know, I resent the implication that everybody in Columbia is a rhino because I actually beat a 30-year Democratic incumbent back in 2020. The reason the heartbeat bill couldn't pass then is because of him and 2 other seats we flipped. The reason we couldn't pass constitutional carry and open carry, same folks. In the last 5 years, we have moved this state in a much more conservative direction because of people like me being in the Senate. We now have open carry. We now have constitutional carry. We now have a heartbeat bill, and we've cut taxes this year alone by $575 million. So that's how you get it done, and not everybody in Columbia is a rhino. We're weeding them out.
Senator, thank you. Congressman Norman, you have 30 seconds.
You know, I am going to call them out. If they're crook, they're crook. If the shoe fits, let them wear it. I'm not putting up with these people campaigning on one thing and coming up here and doing the opposite. Look at the results, folks. Look at what our budget has grown. Look at our infrastructure. Look at our crime here. Look, if we have got to take a stand, I'll try to work with them. But if not, I'm going to We the People. And I'm going to find out who's donating to them. And then we're going to say, like on term limits, will you get on your legislator, Republican or Democrat, support it? I'm not shy about that. We've got to keep South Carolina the best we.
Thank you, Congressman. Lieutenant Governor Evett, you have the final word on this. 30 seconds.
Yes, what I'm going to do is what I've been doing for the past 8 years. I'm going to work with the General Assembly, and I'm going to find where we have common ground. I'm going to talk to the people of South Carolina and figure out what's important to them, and those are going to be the agenda items that I mark as my key things to get things done. And then I'm going to sit down with the House and the Senate and say, how do we work together? Because the people of South Carolina deserve a governor and a General Assembly that will work together to get things done. Everybody is tired of seeing a bottlenecked government getting nothing done. By working with the General Assembly, you can really make huge strides.
Governor, thank you very much for your time. Return now for our next question, Raphael James. With our next question, Raphael.
Thank you. The Ace Basin, it's one of the largest protected coastal ecosystems on the East Coast, protecting more than 350,000 acres along the Ashepoo, Combahee, and Edisto rivers. South Carolina is recruiting large data centers that threaten those ecosystems, and it is a major power infrastructure. Do you support such data centers? And will you commit to preventing the costs associated with these centers from being passed along to residents in their utility bills?
Attorney General Alan Wilson, you have the first response. You have 45 seconds.
Everybody at home, as your next governor, I will always fight for your right in your local communities that if you do not want a data center, you should not be forced to have a data center. But there are communities out there and people out there who want data centers. They see them as an opportunity for the future. I believe in President Trump's agenda on data centers. I think that we can incentivize data centers, scale them to lessen the environmental impacts, the noise and light impacts for those communities that want them, pass a statewide regulatory legal regime that monitors them, and then incentivize those data centers to create their own energy, giving excess energy that they do not use back to local utility companies, increasing the power, the energy, and then lowering your utility rates. There's a way we can get a win-win on this, and this is a national security issue as well.
Attorney General, thank you. Mr. Reddy, you have 45 seconds.
We put out a piece, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. I'm dead opposed to them. And the reason I'm dead opposed to them is the PRC, the political ruling class, they do not know how to make deals. It's horrible. Every deal they make is horrible. Did you know in the Santa Cooper, they're talking about the utility stuff? $10 billion. A donor-appointed board did not know they were $10 billion in the hole until the money had gone. And you are paying those bills. These guys have no idea what they're doing. Trying to cut deals with data centers will be another boondoggle like Scout Motors, battery plants, there's a solar plant there in Rock Hill, all of these. It's a disaster. Don't do it.
Mr. Reddy, thank you. Senator Kimbrough, you have 45 seconds.
Like on every other issue, I'm working on it now in the legislature with Senator Davis in this case as well, to put parameters around data centers to ensure that the water consumption does not impact places like the Ace Basin, ensuring that the Public Service Commission makes absolutely sure nobody's power rate goes up, and we try to get behind the meter energy grids in place so they can be self-sufficient. There's a way to do that in the bill we drafted, having environmental services and the Public Service Commission come in. But everybody in this audience right now has a cell phone in your pocket. Most of you have some kind of social media app, all of which is run by a data center. I will tell you, if we can do it responsibly and safely, and I know we can under what Senator Davis and I are trying to do, I'd rather have our data controlled out of Berkeley than Beijing to protect your kids, and we can do that without destroying the Ace Basin.
Senator, thank you. Congressman Norman, you have 45 seconds.
Well, I'm going to protect the water supply in this state. I'm going to protect the electricity that is not being made. Folks, one of the worst kept secrets is the fact that we've got a $9 billion debt with our Santee Cooper. If a data center comes in or any other industry, we're going to have a long debate on who's paying for the electricity. It's not going to be the state of South Carolina. It's going to be you. If you want to come to the state, you're going to need to find a way to fund your electricity needs with where we are in the state right now. Private property rights are basic to this state. And a lot of people want to use their rights for that. But I would discourage incentives for it, and I would encourage quality development over quantity.
Congressman, thank you. Lieutenant Governor Evett, you have 45 seconds.
Yes. As your next governor, I'll make sure that ratepayers will never pay an added expense because a data center wants to come to South Carolina. President Trump said it very well in his State of the Union address. Any data center that wants to move into a neighborhood has to bring whatever alternate energy they need or cover the added expense to the ratepayers in the area. We must always protect our water for our farmers, South Carolina, here in our state, agriculture and forestry, arm wrestle, tourism, and hospitality for the #1 revenue generator. So we always should protect what our farmers are doing. And we should always protect ratepayers, but the final say should come to the people. People in local communities should have the final say of who they want their neighbors to be. And as your next governor, I will always listen to them.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Congresswoman Mace, you have 45 seconds.
Data centers should pay their own way. They should pay for their energy, they should pay for their water, they should pay for their infrastructure, any roads around it, and we should look at what Governor Ron DeSantis has done in Florida with the large data centers that are coming to Florida. That should be the model in South Carolina and everywhere. In South Carolina, like many other states, we are facing an energy crisis. I have been working over the last 6 to 12 months with the Department of Energy, with the EPA, to look at backup energy sources for states that are lacking energy. In the meantime, the state of South Carolina is looking at the southeastern energy market to get into potentially. There are many things we can do with backup generator energy. Once small nuclear reactors come online, that we will have a lot of options, but make no mistake, we have an energy crisis on our hands.
Congresswoman, thank you very much. Your time is up here. I do want to follow up on this topic because it is such an important issue here in the Low Country, also in the upstate. We saw it in Spartanburg County. One thing I do want to ask, a raise of hands here. Would you support a 1-year moratorium on data centers as governor? If you could, raise your hand if you would support a 1-year moratorium on data centers as governor. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Candidates, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. That does it for our discussion portion of tonight's debate. We'll take that short break and come back with our closing statements. Welcome back. We are set to wrap up tonight's debate here at the Satilli Theater in Charleston. The beautiful, historic Satilli Theater, 99 years old. This is our second in a series of debates in this Republican primary for governor. And to end the night, the candidates will give their final pitch to you, the voters, with their closing statements. Candidates, you each have 1 minute and 45 seconds here for these closing statements tonight. Senator Kimbrell, we begin with you.
Well, talk is cheap and results matter. Since I've been in the Senate the past 6 years, I was one of the lead senators to cut taxes by $2 billion and one of the first person to put together a plan that would eliminate the South Carolina income tax in 13 months. I've also passed legislation as a primary sponsor that would deregulate and roll back agencies to preserve small businesses and defend small businesses. In my first term, I even passed a constitutional referendum that y'all all passed by 85%, the highest percentage margin of any state in the country that passed it, by the way, so y'all should be proud of yourselves, to make sure that illegal immigrants cannot vote in any elections in South Carolina. Those are real accomplishments, and that's a real record of results. I also believe in defending our state's unique heritage and culture, which is why I fought this session to enhance the Heritage Act, as I mentioned in my opening statement tonight, to ensure that municipalities and cities cannot tear down your history, cannot erase the history of this great state. South Carolina is where the American Revolution was won, and I want to be sure the whole darn country knows it and all the 14 million people who visit here, because this is a unique and beautiful state. My family's been in South Carolina since 1746. I have 2 relatives buried in my district who literally fought in the American Revolutionary War. South Carolina is in my blood. You will never have to question whether I will fight to defend this state, whether I will fight to defend its culture. I want it to be the freest state in the nation to live, work, raise a family, and succeed in any endeavor you choose. This state is special. It is unique. We must always remember that. And as governor, South Carolina is literally in my blood, and I will fight to defend her with every breath I have as long as I'm in office.
Senator, thank you. Mr. Reddy, you have 1 minute and 45 seconds for your closing statement.
So there's 2 lanes. The political ruling class, 53 years in office, no results, function of their donor class. I cannot be bought. I'm a voice for the voiceless. But there's something different here. On the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, I immigrated here legally 50 years ago from India, not for economic reasons, but for something I learned in a civics class. And that civics class said that this country was the only one in the entire world where our rights come from God, not government. The unique part of that is the tie to the Gospels. In Acts 5:29, it says, we must obey God, not men, which matches the second paragraph of the Declaration. We're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. That made us create the greatest country in the world has ever seen. In Woodrow Wilson, we started stepping away from that with the administrative state. Today, South Carolina is out of control. Money and power has transferred from the citizen to government. Our results are awful. We have the highest tax red state in the nation. Property tax are a life sentence. Our spending has doubled in 10 years. Our education is a disgrace, 42 out of 50. Our roads, we know about roads. Our violent crime is in the top 15 and has been there. We, you and I, must transfer it back. We must do what our founders did, which is pledge our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor to restoring the Declaration of Independence principles. I will you?
Mr. Reddy, thank you. Congressman Norman, you have 1 minute and 45 seconds for your closing statement.
Folks, we have the most important election coming up in really the country, but here in South Carolina as we vote for our next governor. You're choosing to get married and lock in with one individual for 4 years, and I would really say 8 years with incumbency. And we have got this to protect this state. We've got to run it like a business. That's been the problem all along. How long are we going to put up with these high rates we're paying on our insurance? How long are we going to put up with roads that are dilapidated? How long are we going to put up with putting judges in positions where they let the criminals loose? Many on this stage have promoted liberal judges. And we've got to control the destiny of South Carolina. We've got to control our culture. We've got a great culture. And if it means slowing down, letting everybody and anybody in, particularly when we have politicians giving the state away, and, you know, the basics we have left behind. But I'm doing this for the next generation. And if you look at everybody on this stage, folks, I've got a track record. I've got a record, taxpayer superhero for 8 years. I've got a record of conservative government, by not my words, by other people. You can't elect somebody by just what they're saying. Where had they been for those who have served in office for the last 13 years and the last 8 years? Where had they been promoting these? I've been promoting these as long as I've been in public office. I will run this state like a business. I will make South Carolina the greatest state in this country.
Congressman, thank you. Lieutenant Governor Evett, you have 1 minute and 45 seconds for your closing statement.
Well, thank you, and thank you all for joining tonight. I want to say a special thank you to my husband, David, who's here tonight, who has been my rock and has been by my side through this entire journey. To my children, Amanda, Joey, Jackson, and my son-in-law, Simon, but most of all, my mother, Jenny. They're all watching at home and cheering me on. Thank you so much. And to all my supporters who are here and who are watching, thank you so much. Your encouragement, your texts, your calls are what makes this so much fun. You know, I am so proud of the accomplishments that Governor McMaster and I have had over the last 8 years. But now I want to talk about the future of South Carolina. A future where, as your governor, I'll eliminate state income tax. I'll cut useless regulations. We'll change the way we elect our judges. We'll bring school choice to fruition, bringing it across the finish line once and for all for our students and our parents. We'll take President Trump's American First agenda and bring it right here to South Carolina. I would like to thank you for giving me the honor of being your lieutenant governor these past 8 years. It would be an amazing honor to be your governor. And so I humbly ask you for your vote on June 9th. If I haven't earned it by tonight, I plan on earning it by then. I would like you all to ask yourself one very important question. When you look at everybody here on stage, ask yourself, who would I hire to be the CEO of my company? Because if you wouldn't hire somebody to be the CEO of your company, you shouldn't elect them to be the CEO of your state. May God bless you all. May God bless all of our men and women who put on a uniform to keep us safe every day. May God bless President Trump, and may God continue to bless the great state of South Carolina. Thank you all.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you. Attorney General Wilson, you have 1 minute and 45 seconds.
I first want to thank my wife, Jennifer, and our daughter, Anna Grace, who are sitting out there. I see them. Thank you for being here tonight, ladies. I want to thank the moderators, the state party, and you, the people of South Carolina, for giving me this opportunity to talk about my vision for our great state. As your next governor, my #1 goal in everything that I will do will be to make living in our state more affordable for your families, to make our economy more profitable for your businesses, and to make our government more accountable to you. I'm a 30-year career soldier and a combat veteran who has led soldiers under hostile conditions. I'm a career prosecutor who has fought against the Biden and Obama administrations hundreds of times in courts of law. I've defended your constitutional rights countless times in courts of law. I'm the only person in the race for governor who actually risked their career defending President Trump and his agenda in a court of law. I have overseen thousands of prosecutions of child predators, violent criminals, drug dealers, and corrupt officials, which is why nearly 80% of the Republican sheriffs in South Carolina have endorsed me in this race for governor. As your next governor, I will fight to eliminate the income tax, reduce your property tax, doge fraud, waste, and abuse from government, fix our roads and bridges, promote a kids' first education agenda, and lower your utility bills. Folks, I'm asking every one of you tonight that's watching this debate, I'm asking you for your vote. To those of you who have decided to already support me, thank you, and I appreciate that. To those of you who remain undecided, I'm just asking you for the opportunity to earn your vote by June 9th. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your Attorney General, and I look forward to the honor of serving as your next governor. God bless you all.
Attorney General, thank you. Congresswoman Mace, you have 1 minute and 45 seconds for your closing statement.
Thank you. Just over 30 years ago, I dropped out of Stratford High School in Goose Creek, and my parents said, if you're going to stop going to school, you have to start going to work. And that's when I took that job as a waitress at the Waffle House, because Denny's was a little too highbrow. I would go on to become the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina, 26 years ago. This is a college campus where we don't burn the American flag, we salute it. And I got here today as a leading candidate for governor because I know how to work. Just in the last 2 years, I brought home over $400 million for roads and bridges right here in South Carolina, to include supporting the largest grant in state history for infrastructure. I not only say I have a plan, I wrote the plan to take your state income tax down to zero in less than 5 years. And we will do that by freezing the general fund spending to 2023 levels, and every dollar after that is at a permanent tax refund back to you, the taxpayer. I have rooted out corruption at every level of government, federal, state, and local. There's a reason why we don't have a sanctuary sheriff here in Charleston County anymore, because I rooted out the corruption. Just like I've rooted out corruption between Republican Party, Democrat Party, and if you think the boys in D.C. are scared, wait until I get to Columbia, and I root out everything that has been done wrong to you, the taxpayer here in South Carolina. So I have two speeds. I have zero and I have go. And I'm asking you to get me to work as your governor from day one, and I'm asking for your vote. God bless each and every one of you.
Congresswoman, thank you. Candidates, thank you all so much. And to you at home, thank you for joining us for this series of debates in this Republican primary. Again, we are just beginning here tonight. Our next debate is next month, May 26th in Spartanburg at Wofford College. It's 2 weeks before the all-important primary day on June 9th. It also marks the same day early voting begins statewide. Again, May 26th in Wofford. Early voting day, that begins. Make sure you go out and vote so your voice is heard. And again, primary day is June 9th, with early voting beginning 2 weeks before that day. For now, on behalf of Gray Media, thank you again for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll see you on May 26th in Spartanburg.